do a quick overview of Noco. So the idea is that you have essentially Cursor in the cloud. So we have full Git integration inside of a cloud dev environment. So you get your code in the cloud and you get a dev environment in the cloud. And we also have free starter templates, which we'll walk through one in a second. And it's all powered by currently Gemini 2.5 Pro, which everybody's in love with. It's a great model. And so that's what we're starting with. So let's go through and take a look at one of the templates to start out with. So this might be a little bit meta, but basically you can customize anything you see in this template. So this template is just a starter application. It's a fake application called Invoice Flow. We'll take a look at some of the screens and some of the features that it has. But again, the whole point is that you can clone this and then turn this into the SaaS app that you want to go build. So here's the landing page. It's pretty. You can obviously change anything you want in here, but it's all themed. So if you don't want to do this purple or indigo color, you can very easily change that, swap out all these images, etc. And it has Stripe integration, so you can actually charge your customers. I skipped through the auth page, but let me go through and actually get started. I'm already logged in. That's probably why. So let me sign out. So here's the sign in page. We just have a test account that we can use. So we'll go ahead and sign in here. The authentication is happening from Supabase. So Supabase is serving as the backend for this entire application. And here on the dashboard, just a simple dashboard with total clients, total invoices, overdue invoices, and you can easily add a new client. And we can put in some test data here, a company name, and some notes to add a client. Client was added. And so if we go to our clients list, we should see a list of all the clients. We can edit them all here. Again, the point is to see if this template is close to the idea that you're trying to build so that Noco essentially can build it faster for you. In this case, we have a new invoice where you can actually upload a file, which is cool. So it's got file upload capabilities, and you can have team members. So you can invite other people that can only see the data that is belonging to your organization. It's called multi-tenancy. If you don't know what that means, that's okay. But essentially, when you sign up for something and they say invite your team, this has that too. And this also has a subscription page. So in this case, I'm already subscribed, but all of the subscriptions are handled through Stripe. And this would be your Stripe account, right? So you would, once you clone the template, which we'll look at in a second, be able to copy this and plug in your Stripe account and be able to charge your users. So here I am subscribed for 15 bucks a month, and I could cancel the subscription here. So now let's go into Noco and pretend like we're going to actually build off of this template. So I'm going to go to Noco and log in. I'm going to click a new project. I'm going to start from a template. And this is the one that we just chose, SaaS app with auth and billing. And test two, I'm going to, in this case, let Noco handle the Git repository. So we can store the Git repository, Noco can handle it, or you can have your own. You can bring your own, which is why if you want to, you can actually just bring your existing code base. You don't have to use one of our templates. But in this case, we will let Noco handle it. But I have two GitHub accounts hooked up to here. So this will actually create the GitHub repository in my account and push our template code and start when it starts working and writing code, it'll push it to your GitHub. So you can actually just take this and one person could be working with Noco and the other person could be working with Cursor and somebody else could be working with Devin. And it can all work together because essentially Noco runs off of Git. So if it can run Git, then it's compatible with Noco. The things that we do well is provide for our template project so far, dev environments, automatic dev environments, and I can show you what that looks like. So if I were to go in here and create this project, this is going to go through and clone that repo. And just for expediency, I'll go through and take a look at an application that I already have here. So now that our server has started up, we can see our code in here. So it might be kind of fun to look at the actual page that we're looking at. So this on the top right, just running, so it's all started. And this actually is the code for this particular page that we're looking at. So on the left here, some previous chats for different features that I've asked our system to build. And on the right here is the actual code for the page that we're looking at. So again, you have a cursor-like experience. This thing will generate code. Those code updates go on the right here, and you can see it and edit it. On the bottom here, you can also see that we have Git integration. So you could get push, you could get commit, or you could revert. And of course, you could just type whatever you want in here and it'll save. We also have a diff view. So for instance, if I did new variable false and hit the diff view, I would be able to see that this was a new addition that I made. And so for all of the changes before they get committed, you will be able to see that. And then on the left here, it says this was modified, right? You'll be able to see exactly the files that were changed. So on the logs in the back end, again, this is more useful if you have an actual dev environment. We have a different one that I could I could pull up in a second here that has an actual dev environment. Load your secrets in here. So Noco doesn't have any secrets in our secret manager yet. And then the instructions. So I think is where it's a huge differentiator between something like this and Cursor. Cursor is awesome. I use it all the time. Great product. The problems that I have with it is it doesn't have the full context of what I'm trying to build. It has a little snippet, and admittedly, I don't do a good job of telling it what I want, but the goal here with these instructions is that our templates come with these instructions on how exactly I want the system to build these new features. How where should the files go? How big should they be, etc. And it's just by doing it this way, you end up with a much better output without having to constantly go back and say, oh, don't do it this way, do it that way, having the thing update more files than it should. This is a great way to cut down on this. So all that is to say is that you can customize this in any way that you want to, so that once you have a better idea of what you were trying to build, you can inform the system and it will remember in this context here exactly what you're trying to build. So that when you say, I want a Z feature, it references the thing that you're trying to build first before it generates the project plan, which gets me to my next point. If we go into some of the other previous chats, you can see some of the examples where well, these are bad examples. So here's a project plan. So for instance, I need to upgrade my landing bit page copy, and I gave it some instructions on what I wanted. And this was the plan that it came up with. So Noco is a planning agent first. So the first thing it will do is generate this plan. And I'm kind of going back and forth on how much I want a plan to be approved by users before it actually goes and executes it. But right now it just does the plan and executes it. But it will always do step one, step two, step three. And then it executes these one by one. So this is one iteration of the agent, and it will go and it will do this, and then it will have the rest of that context that it just updated from step one in step two, and then of course into step three. So the idea is that it's more correct each time, or it's more correct than if it just tried to do the thing right out of the gate. And it's getting better at asking you for clarification if it needs some additional information. Just really quick, this is one of the older templates that we aren't using as much anymore, but basically it's a landing page builder. So if you wanted to build a landing page, this one doesn't have any auth or anything like that. But this is full on your environment in the cloud. So here it is being served over SSL. Welcome to your new Noco landing page. And I have the logs here. So this is actually my front end logs for, in this case, Next.js. It was phoning the Git repository, set everything up. And now Next is running, get 200 requests. Those are our 200 requests that we're seeing here. If I go to test, it should log and say test compiling error. That's us. Perfect. So now if I go back through, and here we already went through the secrets, or we will in the instructions, but the code, let's go back to pages, index, very simple template, and let's go and welcome to your old landing page. And so that should update, and we can see immediately that the text updated. So let's go through and try and update some code here. So here's an example landing page with a bug. You can see it's trying to show you some example code, again, just in the UI, and it's broken. The font is black, can't really read it, and the formatting is off. So let's ask Noco to, on your landing page, the app.jsx demo code has an issue, it's black and I need it to be white, and fix the formatting. All right, so the route planner is at first going to search through the code base to know which files to modify. Then it will present the user with the actual plan that it's going to execute on to make this change. So the user wants to update the code, plan step, step one. Each of these plans will happen sequentially. So it's not to say it'll be slow, but it does take the entire context of what it's trying to do, the route, the plan. For a larger, I know this was a smaller scope of a task, but for a larger scope of a task that might have 10 or 20 different steps, it has the context of overall what it's trying to achieve, the steps that came before it, and the current step that it's on. And what ends up happening is you have to tell it what to do less because it's being a little bit more thoughtful about what it's trying to do in the first place. So as you can see, the on the right hand side here, this got updated to white and the code actually got formatted. We have this little trailing end mark here, which we could fix, but generally speaking, it did the right thing. So that is Noco in a nutshell. There's a couple other little features in here. You can change the branch that you're on. You could commit the changes if you wanted to or revert. But essentially, this is it. It's Cursor in the cloud with a dev environment. And I look forward to seeing what you build.